Donald Trump's the president, so the tweets are always great.
We're going to start with racism.
Oh, God, I usually like ending the night with racism, but beginning the night with racism sounds good, too.
Well, I mean, Wendell's usually at the end, and he occasionally does racist stuff.
Racism the entree, not racism the dessert.
I don't think we have Wendell at the end, though, this time. Spoiler. Anyway, first tweet is Ada Lutch. Ada Lutch? I'm not sure who this person is. But so End Wokeness tweeted out an Ilhan Omar clip where she said the idea that America is a white nation that must be preserved is disgusting, which I would agree with that. And Ada retweeted that saying, every single founding father was literally white, you disgusting traitor.
Who cares that they were white?
Why does they were white.
Matter?
Were the black people allowed to participate in the things that they did? Or were they maybe owned as property because fucking slavery was the thing that happened then?
Man, white nationalism has really just become a huge fucking thing, hasn't it? That's wild. It went from being the fringe thing that we heard about once in a while to being half the yahoos on the internet.
Mm-hmm. They were able to participate 3/5 of the time. That wasn't until like the mid 1800s, man. We're talking 1776. They were not allowed to participate at all.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like when you lionize the founding fathers, like almost all of them owned slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like George Washington, lot to admire about the guy. Don't forget that he owned slaves. He owned other people as property. Oh, but he freed some of them. Sure, he did, and that was good. He still owned people as property. And
George Washington specifically had two properties, one in Pennsylvania and one in Washington D.C. area, if memory serves. And the reason he had the two properties was because there was a rule on, I think it was in Pennsylvania, where you had to get rid of your slaves after holding them for like a year or 9 months or something. So he would
transfer them back and forth.
He would transfer them back and forth to keep resetting their legal slave status.
Yeah, sounds like good, upstanding moral character. Also, his dentures were not made of wood. They were made of the teeth of his slaves. Just so you know. So, yeah, those are the people that founded your country.
Yay!
Like, they had some great progressive ideas for the time. They were also moral pieces of shit because they owned slaves. I don't even need to go on. Like, I was going to go on from that, but it's like, no. They own slaves. What more need I say? Owning another human being as property, not moral.
But what if they became your pet and you amputated their arms and legs, and that's what they wanted?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, technically, the slaves that he made his dentures out of, they did that voluntarily. They didn't have to give up their teeth for that. But, like, what else were they going to do? How else can a slave make a little bit of money? Because, he paid for his teeth. He would, like, it wasn't just like, you're my slave, so give me your tooth. It was, you're my slave, so sell me your tooth or I will beat you.
Yep.
So it's a little tiny bit better than just, but like still. Anyway, moving on. Bridget Gabriel says, the Super Bowl halftime show is the most widely watched show around the world, and the NFL picked Bad Bunny to perform, an un-American communist who hates President Trump and supports dismantling our Constitution. Kid Rock would have unified the nation. Shame on Roger Goodell.
Kid Rock would not have unified the nation.
No, absolutely not.
Also, so I've been looking into the Bad Bunny thing, and it led me down a rabbit hole because Bad Bunny is in favor of independence for Puerto Rico. Okay. And that is one of the big arguments against him right now from people in general. For whatever reason.
Fennec says nobody likes Kid Rock. Yes, but that's what would unify everybody.
Then none of us like Kid Rock.
Could unify about how much they don't like Kid Rock. Did you know Kid Rock was in a sex tape with Scott Stapp of Creed?
No.
Hold that in your mind for later.
Wild.
Go on about Bad Bunny.
So, the reason that people don't like Bad Bunny is because Bad Bunny, like, actively puts his politics into his artistic work. And there are people who really do not like it when you do that. Even though, politics and artwork have collaborated since, we could draw fucking cave paintings.
Forever?
Yeah. Like, that's just kind of how things have been since the dawn of societies existing. in general. I disagree with Dear Leader
ever since people learned to express themselves, they started expressing their opinions when they expressed themselves. Fancy that.
What a weird coinky-dink. Anyway, the end result of that, like I said, was me going down a long rabbit hole of researching the founding of Puerto Rico, or not the founding, but like when we took it over.
I'm sorry. Kitsune Cavalier says, it goes to show my sexism when I thought Bad Bunny was a woman. Fun fact, the only reason I know Bad Bunny was not a woman is because I'm a huge nerd who watches tech YouTube, so I saw Linus Tech Tips on, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, one of the two Jimmys, and Bad Bunny was also the guest. That's the only thing I know about Bad Bunny, is that he was once on the Late Show with Linus Tech Tips.
Fun.
So, yeah, no, that's your sexism. The only reason I knew he wasn't a woman is because I'm a nerd who watches Linus Tech Tips.
But he advocates for Puerto Rico being its own country, just no longer being under the thumb of the United States, and that
like every single bullet point that's listed in the Declaration of Independence as a reason why they're declaring their independence, he sees how that applies to Puerto Rico and is like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be hypocrites about this.
Yeah, basically, because the United States is not supposed to have colonies. That is a thing that we openly declared that we do not have, and yet we actually have Puerto Rico, it is
Virgin Islands.
It's functionally a colony, and every single citizen there is a second-class citizen to American citizens without any kind of independence. Now, because of that, I've usually argued in favor, with not a lot of research, mind you, but argued in favor of Puerto Rico becoming a state. Because if you're going to be part of the United States, then you may as well
say in the United States.
Yeah, you may as well have the say in the United States. And one of the arguments that the United States has tried to but like one of the backbone arguments for not bringing Puerto Rico into the fold of the United States has been that like 60% of their population qualifies for welfare, because it is a very, very poor country economically.
So let's fucking help people. They're just human beings who need some help.
Yes, but you have American politicians who see dollar signs and not people, and those politicians see it as an expensive undertaking, an expensive project, instead of the dues of the people.
Hawaii too, but they at least got statehood out of the deal. Puerto Rico just got the annexing, and Guam, and the Virgin Islands, American Samoa, all y'all's colonies that you don't call colonies for whatever reason. Anyway, continue.
No, it was just me going down that rabbit hole, basically hearing that, hey, arguments in favor of Puerto Rico becoming a 51st state. This is a place that should be a 51st state because we shouldn't have colonies, and we should be helping the poor in there, raise themselves up. That is a thing that we should be doing, and yet we don't. Arguments in favor of independence. Hey, this is a...
You know what? Providing people with human rights is a thing that's going to come up later in Twit Tweets as well.
Wild.
Yeah. Human rights are a good thing. That's a hot take, apparently. And hey, while we're providing these human rights, let's let them have some representation.
No, never.
Okay. All right, this one's a little bit more lighthearted. So Lilith posted that meme where if atheism is a religion, then bald is a hair color sort of thing. So Eric says, bald isn't a color, it's a hairstyle with no hair. Atheism isn't a godless void, it's a religion with no god. Checkmate, atheists. You're a religion too, and religion is bad.
There are atheistic religions, but that doesn't make atheism a religion.
No, atheism is just... I'm not convinced, like, you say God exists. I'm not convinced that God exists. That's all it is.
Actually, the word we use to describe that would be agnostic classically, and
that's not... Fuck your face. Fuck your fucking face. That's bullshit. That's like fucking debate me, bro bullshit.
Shooty Bob,
like the whole, like...
Shooty Bob says theism is a religion. No, it's not. No, theism is a belief in God. That does not mean that you have a religion.
Yeah, no, I fucking hate that discussion where, like, like, yes, technically speaking, if you're in a philosophical debate setting, the atheist has the burden of proof if they are saying that no gods exist. Sure, fine. Do you know how often that's relevant? 0.01% of the time, or something close to that. In most cases, in regular everyday conversation, you know who has the burden of proof? Not necessarily the person making the claim, the person who actually cares whether or not the person you're talking to changes their mind. In most cases, the atheist doesn't care whether or not you stay a Christian at the end of the conversation. They're just like, yeah, no, I just don't believe in your God. But the Christian is trying to convert people. So yes, the Christian has the burden of proof. So atheism is the nothing statement. Atheism is the, like, yeah, you're trying to prove to me that your God exists, but like, your stuff doesn't make sense, man. So I'm just an atheist.
Shooty Bob says is being hyperbolic. Okay, fair. But I'm, generally speaking, if I'm going to take umbrage when Eric Hovind says dumb shit about me and my lack of faith, I'm going to take the same umbrage when people on my side say stupid shit too. But Dragonix says calling atheism a religion shows you don't know what the word religion means. Well, yeah, duh. Like, where are the practices?
Yeah, but they're saying that
where are the meetings?
They are saying that in order to disparage atheism, because they recognize that religion is inherently not a great way of determining truth.
They have to call atheism a religion as well.
Yeah. Because if
it's
atheism
unironically,
is just religion, it can be dismissed, because religions can just be dismissed.
It's unironically, the idiot brings you down to their level instead of having a conversation at yours.
Mm-hmm.
So they can beat you with experience.
Yeah.
What does atheism give you? What moral structure does it give you? Well, it doesn't. It doesn't have to.
Well, I mean, but you could answer that. Like, it gives me humanism.
Humanism doesn't necessarily...
is far superior to Christianity in my mind.
Humanism doesn't necessarily stem from atheism, though.
It doesn't necessarily stem from atheism, but it can stem from atheism. You can arrive at humanist conclusions with atheism as a starting point.
I feel like you can arrive at humanist conclusions with Christianity as a starting point, too, though.
You can, which is the great thing about humanism. Humanism just says, hey, let's make life good for as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Because as far as we can tell, this is the only one we got. And yes, you can get there from a Christian perspective. And even then, it's like we're saying, oh yeah, we want eternal salvation and we want eternal paradise or whatever, but this life is still worth living and we should make it as good as possible for as many people as possible. But like, you can get to humanism from atheism. But for some reason, the apologists just refuse to acknowledge the existence of any moral standard that isn't the one that they pre-approved. Like they ignore centuries of moral philosophy just to say, yeah, but my God's the source of morality, and in order to have anything be moral or immoral, you have to borrow from that, even though I will turn around and borrow from utilitarianism when you ask me about the genocides in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But humanism is borrowing morality from Gay Unicorn Gary, who, remember, Gay Unicorn Gary has placed within everyone a desire to participate in a gay orgy. And if you don't have that desire, if you refuse to acknowledge that desire, then that is just you suppressing that in your unrighteousness. Praise be Gay Unicorn Gary at merch.vice.com.
Why you need threats of punishment to not hurt people?
Gay Unicorn Gary doesn't, like, the gay orgy thing is irrelevant in the larger scale of things to Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Gary is humanist. It's just that gay orgies are fun, so let's do it.
Duct Tape Jake says, gotta be clear, I'm apparently suppressing that desire.
Yeah.
And suppressed.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't go for the gay orgy. I'd go for the everybody orgy.
I'll take the everybody orgy. Like, I don't have anyone to have sex with men, but I'll gladly have sex with a woman while 5 other men are having sex with her too.
Does this
that can be
belong
fun
to a guy or a girl? Who cares? It's a hole.
Yeah, you're an any hole's a goal type of person.
Any holes. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Any hole's a goal.
Whereas for me, my group sex experiences have been, yeah, it's fun spit roasting.
I'm Ace, so Gay Unicorn Gary never made me a desire. No, you are just denying that desire in your unrighteousness.
In your unrighteousness.
You just desire to sin by not having the gay orgy. I don't know, man. I'm just turning Christian. No, Gary is turning Christian stuff back on their own thing. I don't know. Whatever the fuck.
You don't know whatever the fuck?
I don't know whatever the fuck. Talk to Gary. He knows. Okay, moving on.
Yay.
John Fetterman, yay, says, it's a sad day for our nation. Our government shuts down at midnight. I voted aye to just say yes, you fucking pretentious shit. I voted aye to extend the tax credits because I support them, but I won't vote for the chaos of shuttering our government.
Just fucking
okay.
let the shutdown happen this time. Instead of
fun
letting
fact.
Schumer vote the other way.
Fun fact, the Republicans are in charge of all three branches of government. If they can't keep it open, that's on them. So this isn't about being bipartisan and finding a better way forward together. It's not about voting with your country over your party. It's about the people in charge are inept as fuck. And
Eric,
like, if you are willing to sacrifice your constituents' health care on the altar of bipartisanship,
oh, but remember,
then you're not bipartisan. You're just anti your constituents.
Remember, you are also sacrificing veterans' health care, but we are going to make sure that during the shutdown, we are working on that ballroom. President Trump's ballroom will go through even through the shutdown. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, because they're essential employees. It's essential to build a ballroom for the White House.
Exactly. Why would you not want to build the ballroom?
You guys' government is bullshit.
Are you saying that you don't believe in the American ballroom?
Correct.
How fucking dare you?
I think the ballroom should be the absolute lowest priority
and
right now.
honestly, the thought of a bug who thinks offends me.
Okay, well, don't play Hollow Knight then.
I find the thought of a bug who thinks offensive.
Okay. Next up,
Yay!
Jack Posobiec, this is where Creed comes back, says, sure would be a shame if TPUSA hosted a counter Super Bowl halftime show with Creed. Like, okay.
Wait.
I say this as someone who was a massive Creed fan in high school and still occasionally listens to their music, but the only, like, I've only started to come back around on their music recently because Scott Stapp has, like, actually been public about having bipolar disorder and getting treatment and not being an abusive piece of shit to his wives anymore. Because like, it used to be when I heard his voice, it was like, no, that guy beats his wife. I can't listen to this and enjoy it. But like, he seems to be like actually on the path to like getting treatment that he needs. So like, as someone who still listens to some Creed song, like I have a guitar behind me, I could bust it out. I don't even know what it's tuned to. I guarantee you, whatever it's tuned to, I can play a Creed song that is in that tuning.
Yeah?
No, don't do the halftime show with Creed. They did it back in like 2003 or some shit. And I actually got pissed off at that one because they were very clearly lip syncing because it was a medley of 3 of their songs. And because I can play all their songs, I knew that all 3 of the songs were in different tunings. And it's not just like one of those, like, I can make it work in a different tuning. It's like, no, it is impossible to play that song in the tuning of this other song. And then there were other, like, Scott Stapp had the microphone like hang him down by his side when he started singing. It's like, okay, they're clearly lip syncing. So like I was, and I get that it's the Super Bowl, so everybody fucking does that. Yeah, that's not special to them, but it was still disappointing to me as a Creed fan. Duct Tape Jake says that's just a concert. Yeah, I know, I get it now, but like at the time I was disappointed in them. But you mean the Super Bowl halftime show that they do with Creed is just going to be a concert? Okay, fine. And honestly, I've actually been purposely ignoring any news whatsoever about anything to do with their personal lives because I know that like there's footage of them before they go out to concert. They like huddle together in prayer before they go out to their concert. So I'm like, I know they're Christian. I know and they actually believe that shit. So like, there's a non-zero chance that they're MAGA, and I don't want to know because I want to still be able to enjoy the music. So like, it's possible that if TPUSA did put on a counter Super Bowl halftime show, Creed would show up, and that I'd never be able to listen to them again, and I would be sad, and I would still play them on my guitar. But it's just sad that these people think that they can compete with the actual fucking halftime show.
It makes sense, though. They think that anything that is controversial automatically means that it's not going to be popular.
But the real question is, Suris, can you take me higher?
No.
To a place where blind men see.
No.
Did you know there was a Creed-themed cruise that you could go on?
There's a what?
That was the thing you could do for a little while. I think that was like one of the first things they did after they got back together. So like they split up in the early 2000s when the guys from Creed formed Alter Bridge, and then there was a brief period of time where they like it's like for the longest time they were like, oh no, we're never getting back together as Creed. That's just never going to happen. And then they got together again and released another album, and then they kind of split up again and didn't do anything for a few years. And then out of nowhere they were like, yeah, no, you can sign up for the Creed cruise and come on a Creed themed cruise, and we're going to do concerts on this cruise. And it was just like, oh, that's kind of cringy.
You know, in January, there's going to be a Magic the Gathering cruise.
I have met most of the members of the band of Creed, and I have a guitar signed by most of them.
Staff says Creed is incredibly mid. I don't have much of an opinion on Creed.
So that this is where my my 90s kid hat is going on. We're going to take off my Sherlock hat, put on my 90s kid hat, which I don't actually have, so I'm just going to leave this on. No, there was so my thing was that Creed was very much focused on commercial success.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at the stuff they did with Alter Bridge, the guitar stuff specifically, Tremonti started doing much more complex stuff with Alter Bridge than he did with Creed, because Creed, he was very focused on commercial stuff. And so like the solos were not all that interesting, and it was fairly simple melody wise or whatever, because it needs to be commercially viable. Mm-hmm. Whereas Alter Bridge was kind of there like, let's just fucking let loose and do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And so it was much better. And like the first album, half the songs for that were written for Creed, and then Scott Stapp had his mental breakdown. Jester says, of course they are mid. Christian band means mid. Yeah, no, this is where I will like, no, they were not a Christian band. They were a band that happened to be Christian, and they use Christian imagery in their songs, but they were not a Christian band. But
there is a difference.
There is a difference. And I don't need to get into this because I like.
Oh, you've gone down the rabbit hole already.
I'm already too far in.
Yeah, we're like I'm in the smile and nod part of the stream.
Yeah. I'm like, if this plant wasn't in the way, I'd pick up my guitar and start playing some Creed songs now.
Like, there's nothing wrong with me being in smile and nod mode. It's the easiest part of the stream for me. I just also want it to be known I'm in smile and nod mode.
Their name is Creed. Shut up, Duct Tape Jape. Okay, the name Creed came from... Scott Stapp was abused as a child. His father was a pastor, and he like forced him to read Bible verses as a punishment all the time. And that's why all their music was good. Like, no, I'm just gonna... No. It doesn't matter. I don't actually like them anymore, okay? I'm still kind of... But if they perform at TPUSA, absolutely not. I will, like, that'll be a boycott. Actually, no, it won't be a boycott. It'll probably be an accidental boycott, because like same thing with like when it came out that Scott Stapp was abusing his partners. It wasn't that I stopped listening because I was actively boycotting. It was that hearing his voice was like, oh, that's a wife beater, and I don't like thinking of wife beaters, so I'm just not going to listen to that voice anymore.
Yeah, they're only really attractive on women.
Sure. I forget where I was even going with that. Anyway.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fire Shard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it. Just a little bit.